Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is the Housewife Did It.
Pop culture edition.
Last one
Last
for a
one.
while edition. That's exactly right,
And,
Mary.
and wet hair edition.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get sick.
We're not outside.
Yes.
If you're here.
Yes. If you're here, finally somebody took my advice. Thank you, Mother. She shared it on Facebook. And she said, go listen to my daughters. So, be like her, please.
You can
Share.
call us your daughters if you want.
Yeah.
Might be weird, but go for it.
Like us, subscribe us, 5-star us.
Mm-hmm.
We as we mentioned, this is the last pop culture for a while, but
We've gone a little feral for you.
looking for you, we have a new crippling addiction to making edits of the Tortured Poets Department song with Bravo people. So on our TikTok and our Instagram, we are doing like a little potentially 31 part series on
Could get crazy.
yeah, the Bravo Loves that remind us of the Tortured Poets Department songs. On TikTok right now, we have 5 parts up. We've got Ariana as Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, Sandoval as The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, Sierra and West as So High School, Olivia Flowers from Southern Charm as But Daddy I Love Him, and Lisa Vanderpump as The Bolter.
Mm-hmm. We, on Instagram, also have Katie and Ariana as I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
Yes, that's a part 6. And then I've got quite a few drafts saved, ready to go. So please watch, because I gotta say, on TikTok it's getting like about the same watches as we normally get, but I've seen quite a few people repost or save them or like them more than some of our other videos. So
It on TikTok, it's also
you
like much
like
more of a trend to make like edits though
yeah,
than it is on Instagram, I think.
yes, that's true.
But yeah, we're having so much fun. And yes, we apologize kind of for no pop culture through May. But like I said a few episodes back, I'm moving and I'm overwhelmed. And so taking a little step back. But over on the True Crime Days, we have a 4-part series every week in May on the West Memphis 3. So that's where
Starting
you
to
can
go.
still listen to it. Well, starting
Starting to
Friday.
go for us.
Yeah. So that's where you can still listen to our voices. Nice.
Or surprise, the Tortured Poets Department edits are actually us singing the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to hear
Yeah.
our voice.
We'll try really hard not to turn Torture Poets Department songs into true crime characters.
Actual torture.
Mm-hmm. Florida could. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get into it. So, few tidbits, Bachelor Nation updates. Greg Grippo, Greg Grippo and Victoria Fuller have announced a breakup. And like part of me is like surprised, I guess, at the level that you're surprised about Bachelor Nation people breaking up, but like they were like so in it.
I liked them, to be honest.
Yeah.
She ended an engagement for this man.
Yeah.
To like a dude who is very well liked in Bachelor Nation.
Yeah. Jason Tardik also has confirmed rumors that he is dating internet personality Kat Stickler.
I love it.
Which I like love her. I'm a little bit like, Jason is a very boring choice for you, Miss Ma'am, but like whatever. But he also dated Sure, I was gonna say, like, if these are the type of women, like he almost married Caitlin Bristow, like he's gotta be pretty interesting.
the Daily Mail reported that Kyle Richards will not be allowed to return as a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills unless she is more open about her relationship with Morgan Wade. Like, specifically, it said, like, unless she tells the truth
Mm-hmm.
about it. And people are, like, torn on this, especially with Morgan being a woman. So people are saying, like, Kyle should not have to
Out
discuss,
herself.
right, out herself or disclose anything she doesn't want to. But other people are saying that if the roles were reversed and this was a different cast member who had just gone through a divorce and was very, very close with a singer half her age, that Kyle would really be pushing for them to be open about it.
I, first of all, like, don't actually know if I agree with that. Like, through, I am, like, watching
Right.
Beverly Hills right now. And I'm on, like, season 9 out of 13. And, like, historically, like, Kyle has been very, like, the line, like, crossing the line is mentioning
Yeah.
things on camera, and she's very like, I don't want to talk about my sisters on camera, they didn't agree to
Right.
be here. She's been, like, very accepting of people that are like, I don't want to talk about my husband on camera, like, so I think that's, like, a bit of a
I feel
reach.
like this is the thing that people say now, though. Like,
Right.
it reminded me so much of the Sandoval and Lala fight.
Yes.
Like, well, you say that we all have to share, and then and I was like, no, I don't.
I was
Like,
gonna say, like, Kyle, like, I get that as a narrative that, like, wouldn't they want other people to share, but, like, Kyle
yeah,
specifically,
right,
I don't know that I agree with that. Like, she has been perfectly fine with, like, people leaving certain things off.
yeah,
Also, like, we've seen plenty of people, like, allowed to be on shows while keeping their relationship a secret. So, like,
hmm,
I don't know the problem, like, why it's suddenly a problem. Although people
right,
have been saying all over the internet, like, Bravo's making a mistake because, like, maybe they mean since, like, Sandoval, but they are, like, making all these changes, like, because of, like, fan requests and
hmm,
not, like, who makes good TV. And, like, I think they mean, like, Monica and, like, people that, I don't know, just other people that have been fired and things. Um, but I also, like, I think I'm having a hard time understanding, like, how they plan to, like, police this. Like,
right,
who is to say that she is definitely lying? Like, how
right.
have they, like, proven that they are definitely together? And then, like, can't she just go on the show and, like, keep claiming that they aren't? And, like, how are you gonna prove other, like, I guess I don't get, what if, obviously we don't believe this, but what if on the off chance, like, they're not dating and you just fired this woman for not admitting to something that isn't
Right.
true? Like, that just, like, seems like a weird game to play. I think you could have her on the show and then do your very best to catch
Yeah.
her in something. You could even do what everyone accuses Bravo production of doing and talk to the women and say, "Here, we planted this story. Go talk about it on camera." Like, but it seems weird to be like, "You can't come back unless you're going to admit something just because we believe it's true."
Right. That's
Strange.
silly.
Hmm. I mean, fair though. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see her talk about her and Morgan Wade, but it just seems I'm not getting it. But
I feel like, and like, I feel like at this point though, it seems pretty obvious that they are dating. So like, why do we need her to explicitly say it? Like,
yeah.
she'd already talked about Morgan on the show
Mm,
and on
yeah.
the new show that they're on.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Uh, on to the week after the Torture Poets Department.
had some time to
So
digest,
yeah,
and we're still not full.
no, and I think, like, so many theories had took a while to get out there. Um, People have been, like, connecting her, like, outfits, because we can, like, obviously there's, like, so many pictures of her walking in and out of her studio, and then, like, Jack Antonoff shared videos of her, like, recording certain tracks, so people are like, oh my god, she wrote this on this day or
Hmm.
recorded this on this day or whatever. um some people think that it looks like she recorded the Black Dog on May 18th. Others, though, argue that the outfit actually looks different, so, like, take this or leave it. But
Hmm.
people think that would be wild if the Black Dog is about Maddie Healy and just 3 days prior she and Maddie Healy were photographed leaving her studio together. And like, not that it wasn't obviously a quick relationship, but it just like, I think it's like
Yeah.
shocking how quickly she's like having these turnovers and stuff.
Yeah. I've heard a few people who think the black dog is actually about Joe. I am not one of those people, to be clear. But saying that the idea that tAylOr found out someone was cheating on her with a younger woman, and that she found out through their location being shared, seems more likely to be someone that she was in a 6-year relationship with than a 2-month relationship, as far as like sharing locations. Um, but also like I'm no Scheana Shay. I'm not a big sharing locations person, so like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't really know where I fall on a lot of these. Like, I do feel
Mhm.
like the Black Dog is about Maddie Healy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like, it's makes perfect sense that they would be sharing locations. First of all,
Yeah.
like, they've been friends and on and off and whatever for 10 years. Like, they're apparently very close. So maybe they share locations all the time, but I think at the very least they may have started when they got back together or like whatever.
Yeah.
Uh and I've heard people talking about this, and they think it's less of like her catching someone cheating and more of like after they had broken up and she just like
Mhm.
still had their location on,
Mhm.
but was like, oh my God, like look where you are. But I don't know. But anyway, the Maddie Healy signs to me are that the starting line that she mentions is a band that Maddie has been known to cover, more specifically a band that he covered at the concert where he
Mhm.
mouthed, "This one's about you, you know who you are, I love you." And then following, she did the same thing.
Mhm.
And then also, both of his girlfriends since their breakup have been in their 20s. So that feels Maddie Healy-ish to me. However, the Black Dog pub owner has come out and said, we like don't want to say too much, but like we do have a certain blonde regular,
Mhm.
which
Not
people
anymore.
are taking to mean that like Joe used to come there a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I first heard it, I thought they meant tAylOr. Like I thought they just meant like when she lived here, like she was in here a lot. And in my head, I was like, she could have been in there with Maddie. Like I'm not
Yeah.
understanding the problem. But everyone thinks this means it's Joe. I just think like with a lot of these songs, it's turning out that like they could be like a mixture, and that like
Yeah.
sure, maybe the Black Dog is a pub that Joe went to. And maybe it hurt even more when she saw Maddie's location
Yeah.
at the Black Dog. But like I feel like maybe she's just like mixing all of these
Right.
together. And then I wonder, like, is that a major point of the album that
Right.
we had previously missed, which is like all of these relationships, all of these betrayals, all of these heartbreaks are kind of like running together in
Yeah.
her head. Like,
I've seen that a lot where like people say that you're supposed to have trouble
yeah,
distinguishing between the two because
she does.
she said in uh I don't know where she said it, but she
These
she
like
said
those like I heart descriptions.
maybe she said that like Maddie love bombed her. And so
Mm,
like people were saying like it it is hard to distinguish between a relationship that you thought like because they did the same things to her basically, that like she thought she was going to marry Joe because they were together for so long, and they wanted a future together, but then he didn't want to marry her. And Maddie also said he wanted to marry her because he was in the middle of love bombing her, and then he just disappeared when it
mm-hmm,
got hard. And so like the a lot of people are saying that it is supposed to sound the same, and it is supposed to confuse you because it was confusing to her, that
mm-hmm,
like she thought she had like figured out what was wrong with the relationship with Joe, and
mm-hmm.
then and then got with Maddie, and then he did the same things to her, and even like in like an instant,
Yeah,
like so much of a fraction of the time. Also, the black pub owners have come out on TikTok and said that they will be making merch for us that will be
they
sold
did
worldwide.
like yeah, right, like a sign with like one of the
Hmm.
lyrics, and then someone was like, "Are you?" I don't remember how they worded it. They basically were like, are you like over it? Like has this song like made you too busy? Like, are you like whatever? And they were like, no, we have a beer behind the bar for Taylor Swift anytime she wants.
Cute.
They're like, we just had the busiest Monday of our lives.
Yeah. Another one that people are like really torn about is The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. And we talked about it last week that like there are certain lyrics that make it like so obvious it's about Maddie, like Jehovah's Witness suit, blah blah blah. But people are saying that lines like our bed, people are like nitpicking the shit out of
I
these
think that
lines.
like at a certain point we have to write things that are like creatively good, right? And it's
Right.
like, honestly, maybe she saw Maddie's location walk into a different bar, but it wasn't gonna fit in the song. So she picked
Yeah.
another bar she knew, and she was like, damn, this will hurt Joe. And then like same thing here, like what is she supposed to like, maybe our
Right.
bed just like fit better. Like I feel like at a certain point we also have
Your
to
bed that
remember,
we were sharing at the time, my bed we were
yeah,
sharing at the time. Come on.
like
If
she
they're
also just
sleeping
like
in it
has to make
together,
music.
right. If you're
It's
sleeping in it together, it's a shared bed. But people are like, "Oh, she said our bed," so it obviously means somebody she was living with. Okay.
I mean,
But
yes,
I do
she
think,
could have said, "Did you sleep with a gun underneath your bed?" Like she could have. That would
but
have
it
been,
doesn't sound like it's for her.
yeah.
The gun is for her.
Mhm.
But I do think this is interesting that all of the hints at like him killing her or like
Mhm.
wanting her dead, that like that is reminding people of like You're Losing Me and So Long London, where we have these songs about like how the relationship died and like heartbeats ending,
Yeah.
that like this is her saying like this is how it felt like it happened, like that you were just like waiting for the time to like cut me off or
Mhm.
like whatever. But
I think that's interesting. I do think
yeah.
again like two deaths happened like back to back. She like felt that way. I also think like maybe, and this is like just coming to me, so like bear with me here. But like I feel like it's a little different in You're Losing Me in So Long London, that like the relationship is dying
Yeah.
versus like Maddie Healy like almost took her out. Like she is
Yeah.
saying like you tried to kill me. And like truthfully like her reputation, like
Yeah.
who like she says like, and this is true, like people wrote like an open letter to her about like please don't date this man. And so like it was like a little bit
Yeah.
different that like she was watching her and Joe's relationship slowly die, but it didn't really seem, at least toward the end, like it was killing her. Then
Yeah.
she optimistically goes into this other relationship and is so fooled that she's like, "Oh my god, this is going to take me out." And like
Yeah.
to me, like those are different things. And like, are you writing a book? Are you a sleeper cell spy? Like just seems very much like, "Oh my god, like you've been collecting information all these years. You then like we're finally together. You get like whatever final information you need, and then you're out, and then you're going to declassify it later."
Yeah.
And like when she says like in public showed me off then sank into stoned
Yeah,
oblivion,
that's
Joe did
not
not show
Joe.
you off in public. And
No.
like I know who you're talking about when you're saying he's in stoned oblivion. So like again, yeah, it's not to say that it's not both, right? And like
Mhm.
it's not a little bit of whatever. I think that the smallest man, like the actual man she's talking about, has to be Maddie. But if she's putting in beats from these other heartbreak songs and like things like that, like yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it is all one dying feeling.
My favorite thing right now is like all of the TikTok edits with "I can fix him, no really I can," and it's like Maddie Healy at
Humping
concerts,
his cameraman and
like eating raw meat,
mhm.
wrapping microphone cords around his neck, and it's like no one can fix this man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Every time I
what
like
a
show,
choice.
oh, I saw this one too. Okay, do you like know or like have a theory? Maybe I'm just stupid on Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus.
Like who it's about.
Like what it's about.
I think it's about her like spiraling about a relationship and thinking that
But like, do you
they're
have any
cheating on
theories
her.
on like the names?
Oh,
They're
no.
just random names of people he may be cheating on her with.
I mean, I'm sure Sammy and I were talking about this the other day, and I said, he was like, well, people think that the names mean something. I said, I can guarantee you the names mean something. I just don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
So I saw an edit, which I know like I shouldn't like take to be like fact, but I was like, whoa. And it was like him like making out with all these people on stage, and it was like multiple girls, and then it ended with like him making out with like a guy. And
Mm.
it was like, hold on, let me look up the lyrics. Your hands in the hair of somebody in darkness named Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, and I just watched it happen. Like, is she like saying like, I don't fucking know these fools' names because they're fucking randos, and I'm just watching you in a dark stage just like touch these people and like make out with them. And like that's what I start like, oh, is that what she means? Is like,
He's such a gross dude.
this is what you did, and I can't even think of a name because like it was literally anyone.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure the names do like whatever. But I just was like, why 4 names? What is she saying? Like, we don't, no one that Joe or Maddie, like, we don't know at least of like a history of them like having like multiple affairs or like cheating on
Right.
her with like a million people. So I was like, what is this? But then I was like, whoa, wait, like she's saying like these are identityless people that I don't know from Adam,
Yeah.
and you're just touching them.
Yeah. He's such a gross
Wild.
dude.
He's so disgusting.
I
Ah,
he every time I see him, all I can think about is how much he in character, in appearance, resembles our shared ex-boyfriend.
Yep. I know. I keep talking about this and I'm like, so not relatable. And then I'm like, wait a second. But he looks just like my ex. And then I was talking to my friend about it and I was like, so I guess we like do all, and she was like, yes, we all have this experience where we like date these bad guys who maybe do drugs and who whatever. And then we like think like we can fix them. But we were 15, Taylor.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking like, okay, sure. I don't think it really counts for me. I like then met my now husband, but like how many people do you and I know that are almost 30 and are still like doing this, you know? And
Yeah.
it like it's heartbreaking and it's like sad and it's
Yeah.
almost always at the very least emotionally abusive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like
he does look just like him.
it's so, and like it's like I think it's like how skinny he is.
The
For
picture
me,
of
that
her
I'm
from
like,
2014 when she's wearing the black lace top and he's like unbuttoned, shirt off. I'm like, oh, I know that guy.
yeah, so gross. But also like a lot of the yeah, like a lot of the lyrics resonate with me in like people I dated in high school, and like
Sure.
thinking about like that person, and like somebody else I dated that like but there's a guy I dated in high school, and I was telling someone that I had dated him, and he was like, oh my gosh, like, and I was like, he was my first kiss, and he was like, well, have you kissed anyone since then? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, he was a gay person. He was like, I have to kiss you now because
That's
we
so
cannot
traumatizing.
let that be the only person you've ever kissed. That's horrible. And I was like, that's true, that is horrible. Like just these like horrible like low down dudes. But like I was 16 years old, and like it's
no shame to her.
yeah.
It's just like it is a little hard to relate
Yeah,
to
but
like
like
still
it's,
after
and
those
for
guys at 30.
me it's like kind of fun to like have the feminine rage for my like 16-year-old
Yeah.
self that I don't feel now.
Yeah.
Um because my
Yeah.
husband is like just a little goofy dude.
Yeah. I know.
And
And it's like
he's not the smallest man ever.
I also just like it is hard for me to relate to like I've never been able to relate to this like if I don't know, like just being like, yeah, like he's addicted to heroin and like he's making out with people that may be underage and he's saying
Yeah.
racist shit, but like I can make it better. Like that is like hard to relate to at my age.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there were certainly guys in high school that I was like, I do know they do drugs and I do know they've said some like really problematic shit, but it's like, oh my god, like I'll teach them.
Yeah.
And
They can learn something from me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the outfits that
Yes.
connect her to songs. So pretty confirmed is that Florida was recorded on May 24th. So again, back to that timeline, we see them walking out of her studio together on May 15th. So at the very
Mhm.
least, they're still together on May 15th. Whether Black Dog is about him on May 18th or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for folks who think Florida is a metaphor for Maddie, this is interesting. This would be
Mhm.
9 days since we last saw them together. She's already got Florence and the Machine. Come over, girl. I've got a song for you to sing with me. And like, yeah, that's wild.
Um, I am folks. I think
Mm-hmm.
Florida's about Maddie, but I don't necessarily think it's like a breakup song about Maddie.
Ah, okay.
Like I feel like the idea that like Maddie is a metaphor for Florida is still more about the Joe breakup and like
So she could have written it while they were.
yeah, and like maybe like something changed in it
And she can like, yeah.
and yeah, and it like was like, oh well shit, like
But maybe she had at least started it, is
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
She
like
like
I'm
understood the yeah,
escaping
yeah.
cuz like there's like I think do I think it's endearing to compare your boyfriend to drugs that you have had to take to escape from your breakup? Of course not.
Mm-mm.
But the parts that are like people pointed out like the like timeshare is like supposed to sound like the time they shared.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And like the just like certain parts are about like this has been something that I've wanted for so long and now I finally get to go after it.
Yeah.
Um but then I do wonder if like it kind of changed as their relationship started coming
Yeah.
apart.
And at the very least, like she has to have like heard public commentary
Yes.
because she's like, I've got some regrets, I'll bury them in Florida. Tell me I'm despicable, say it's unforgivable. So like she at least, what a crash, what a rush. Like she at least is like, yeah. And you're right, maybe that was right in the middle. I mean, people were pretty vocal as soon as they knew.
How could you not be?
Yeah. Um yeah, we had talked about this over text, but also interesting though is that Florida, so she has started adding the TTPD songs to the grief stages playlist that she made, and Florida is in the depression playlist,
Mhm.
which is like a little strange to me.
Mhm.
It's not like unfathomable, but it's a little strange. So like, but I guess to your point, because I had said to you, we had said like she's going to Florida thinking she's going to Maddie thinking she can escape from Joe. Joe and her had
Mhm.
broken up or announced it while she was in Texas, so that's the references to Texas. Um, blah blah blah. So then Maddie is this like escape maybe like from a depression, or like she realizes now that that like was a depression or whatever. To me, like that would fit more in like denial, in the like kind of
Mhm.
delusional atmosphere. But I guess you're right that if it was written at a time when she like was still with Maddie and did not think
Mhm.
like, I don't know. I just think that's interesting. Thinking of it as a depression song is like hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah. Um yeah. I think like I think it could fit in either cuz I feel like if it is about like Maddie is one hell of a drug that I've had
Yeah.
to take to get out of my stupor of
Yeah.
this breakup. Like that's something people do when they're depressed, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, like in hindsight, he was not who
Yeah.
he turned out to be different than what we thought. So that would be a denial. But yeah, I think maybe it does depend on when she when she wrote it,
When she
when
read
she
it.
wrote it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Looks like Fresh at the Slammer was recorded on May 31st, so still in May, which kind of to your point, like she could have started it while they were still together. She just says, now pretty baby, I'm running back home to you. I know who my first call will be to, but then she ends with my friends tried, but I wouldn't hear it. Watch me daily disappearing for just one glimpse of his smile. But I mean, but still, she ends with like, "Ain't no way I'm gonna screw up now that I know what's at stake." So like,
Yeah.
it is hard to understand like how many of these songs were written, like before he really fucked her over.
And then if they were written in a manic state, like when we listen to them, we're like, oh, like she realized, but like maybe when she wrote them, she hadn't realized.
Yeah, yeah. Down Bad was recorded like I think at the end of June. So basically their relationship began publicly on May 3rd, saying that they are in love. They just came right out the gates. Boom. Which again, like we should have known. Like looking back, I'm like, why did we think like, oh, this is such a crazy situationship? Like we should have been like, okay, whatever. And at least by May 24th, she had written songs seemingly about that relationship. I don't know. We don't know if it's the beginning or the end. So we know this about Taylor Swift, but she is a quick girl. Honestly, like the way I like to picture it now that you've said that is like she started Florida. She said, I want you on this, Florence. Her and Maddie break up like on the 23rd. She comes in on the 24th and she's like, all right, fuck this shit. Like, we're changing some things up a little. Like, I'm pissed.
And Florence is like,
okay. Also, a source close to Kim Kardashian spoke to Us Weekly saying that, quote, she isn't happy, but she doesn't want to add fuel to the fire. She is upset that Taylor is still harboring negative feelings toward her, and she thought their issues were in the past, end quote. She doesn't want to add fuel to the fire. She's not going to make a comment, but she's going to let me make one on her behalf. Help me understand that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
What?
I was going to say, I don't remember if I said this last week, but there was like a tweet where somebody said like, why is Taylor like still talking about this? Like Kim K has moved on, and then somebody like quoted it and said like, as bullies so often do. Like, of course Kim has moved on. Nothing happened to Kim.
I saw someone today that was like, abusers don't get to choose when something's over.
Right.
Crazy update. I feel it's like hilarious.
That is news. That is hard-hitting news.
This is what happened when Mary read this sentence in the script. But I like was reading this to Billy and he's like, I don't know what the significance of this. And I read like the tweet above it that was like, the Taylor Swift cinematic universe. Like, I need someone to explain the Taylor Swift cinematic universe lore to me. This is this example. So Kim K this past week posted a story hanging out with Karlie Kloss, which is just wild. So like, first of all, they're friends, like obviously, I guess, because they were like hanging out. But then it's like, and it seemed like it wasn't even like she went and found an old picture of them. Like they were like at an event together, so it's like kind of just like coincidental. But did she know that people are debating it's either about one of them, or like is it just like, I'm gonna post Karlie Kloss because like fuck Taylor Swift? Like I just so interesting.
I watched the season finale of American Horror Story, and Kim's wearing this big ass snake necklace in it, and I was like, okay, we get it. There are also rumors that the song may actually be about Amy Lou Wood, who at the very least is a friend of Joe Alwyn's, but may also be dating him. And this got me thinking, like, with the Kim K and the Karlie Kloss thing, like, is this song about more than one person? Like, and I tried to like listen to each verse and like kind of differentiate.
Her, who have bullied her. Right. Like, it's a endless list.
Like I was like Kim K, definitely first verse Kim K. Spray tanned statue of you. We get yes. But then I was like, I feel like the like sharing headlines thing could match with this idea that Karlie Kloss is the one who was like, Scooter Braun, you should buy those masters ASAP.
Yeah.
And then when people also said that it's about like whoever she originally like owned Big Machine Records, whatever his name is,
Mm.
Scott something.
Mhm.
That it could be about him because like he sold Big Machine Records to Scooter Braun and allowed Scooter Braun to buy the masters before she could, knowing
Mhm.
she was trying to get them.
Mhm.
That like it could be about so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think likely it's not like about this Amy Lou Wood
Yeah.
girly, but I think we all thought she spelled the name Amy that way, like just so that she could achieve the Kim thing. But
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, maybe there is like a person that
Yeah.
she knows and hates with a name spelled that way, and like she just was like, I'll just put it in the title. But I think that that's true. That like we have to remember that in folklore and maybe Evermore, she started playing with this, maybe she had done it before, but like obviously she started playing with this, like each verse is about something different. And like This Is Me Trying, in Epiphany,
Hmm.
like each verse is like an entirely different character.
Right.
And so like yeah, like maybe that's happening here too, where like every song is like about an overwhelming feeling, but then like we're putting in each verse like about different people, you know?
Yeah.
tAylOr posted another of the For a Fortnight challenge YouTube shorts, this time with clips of her rehearsing for the Eras tour, and it really looks like the Tortured Poets is getting an era added to the set list. There seems to be a TTPD logo. She's wearing the same booties from the Fortnite music video. The backup dancers are wearing angel wings, and some have hats and canes, which like first point is that like we obviously know they don't wear that in any
Yeah.
of the current sets, but then people are like trying to connect what song that would be.
Yeah.
Also, though, this is making people really worried about like what will get cut.
Yes. And like people were saying that like the dances are different in that video also, and that like something has to get cut because it's already so long. And then also people are like, I'm gonna be so mad if
Mhm.
she does that because I didn't get to see it when I paid my ticket.
Mhm.
Okay. But people are actually dating rehearsals for the Tortured Poets department back to the first time tAylOr ever posted photos rehearsing for the Eras tour, because in some of the photos she's holding a white microphone that has never been used on stage during a show. She also
Yeah.
posted a story at one point, like before the Eras tour started, with the case of all of the microphones, and
Right.
there's one white one that's never been used. Um,
Yeah, people have been pointing to
but
that and saying like, "Oh, this is what microphone is for." And then there's like a white guitar, but
mhm,
then like other people are posting that like she's been using the white guitar since like she played with the 1975 years
mhm,
ago, and that like, so I don't know. I think the micro, I don't know. Like I don't know
yeah.
if they are like
People also said that
relevant.
um in the for Fortnite thing that the um Evermore piano microphone looks different, and people are wondering if she's going to combine folklore and Evermore,
Hmm.
and that's how she's going to
They
cut it
are the
down.
two longest.
And I feel like for like folklore, I love it. But folklore, I feel like, is when she's doing the least because she's just kind of like running. After she gets out of the house,
Oh,
she's just kind of
sure.
running
Yeah, yeah,
around the
yeah.
stage. And so I feel like those could be combined a little more easily. I don't know. And
Mhm.
they match. But I personally, I hope this means that we're getting more dates for
Mhm.
the Eras tour. Because I need to go now more than ever.
Mhm.
This is like becoming my favorite album, I think.
Wow.
Um, which is hard to overthrow a reputation, but I love it. And like I've never been to the Eras tour, so I think let's stop being meanies and being like, well, no one else deserves to see it because I didn't get to see it. And
Yeah.
instead manifest
Mhm.
that you will be able to see it.
Yeah, people have wondered if she's gonna change, like replace or integrate Torture Poets into the Lover intro, or just
I
replace the Lover intro with Torture Poets.
I had heard the opposite, that people thought that this was going to be the new outro.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, I've seen some people say that it would replace Lover. I've seen
I think it'd be
people.
so weird not to end on Karma, though.
Yeah. Have seen people like I don't remember which song, but playing playing what is it called? What is it called? Who's Afraid of Little Old Me into like Reputation songs.
Yeah.
So like a transition there, but then also like people thought she could back it up with Evermore, and like I don't know, because it
Yeah.
is similar to a lot.
Yeah.
I also like, well, I guess I'll say this before you get to this next sentence of yours, but I also like wonder, maybe this is like nuts, but
Are
like
they all gonna be mashups?
will she like be in Reputation, but then like, oh, this song sounds like this, and then like
Yes.
just play some Torture Poet songs? But that does seem not
But that
true, because
doesn't
we're
match with
seeing the
the
set,
video.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Also,
seeing like an actual set.
in the video she posted,
What if it's
they're
actually just all
clearly
Torture Poets, and then it's mashups into the other song?
she's clearly still rehearsing Lover,
Right.
because they've got the big things.
No, but that's why people think it's like
Mhm.
both.
Okay. I posted a theory on TikTok that I have, and I am here to bring it to the masses. Because I haven't seen anyone else say it. This is a Mary original thought. So we had said on the show a while ago, after the Tokyo shows, that tAylOr had thrown all surprise song rules out the window. All she's been doing is mashups for this most recent leg of the tour. And we were like, okay, girl, this is a lot. But so then I started to wonder, though, could that be an Easter egg to the amount of songs on the Tortured Poets department that seem to like really fit with other Taylor Swift songs? And if this is a way of storytelling, but then I did also wonder, is this how she's integrating it into the Eras tour? But here's some that I've heard or noticed myself, like either heard people mention online or noticed myself. Not all of them make sense, but
Okay.
and this one wasn't on the list, but I did see somebody more recently say, "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?" and "Look What You Made Me Do,"
Yeah.
sounding similar. Um, so there's one. But Daddy, I Love Him, and If This Was a Movie, So Long London, and Call It What You Want. Also So Long London and You're Losing Me. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart and Mastermind, which is like I feel like the most obvious one. I Look in People's Windows and Death by a Thousand Cuts. The Prophecy and Seven. I cannot get this fucking out of my head. Every time I'm singing the chorus to The Prophecy, I like get to the end and I'm like, Sweet Tea in the Summer. And I'm like, no, that's not the same song. The Tortured Poets Department and Welcome to New York sound the same to me. I keep getting them mixed up. How Did It End in Exile? LOML. I don't know what to call that song. Love of My Life, Loss of My Life. People have matched it with White Horse, but I've also seen people match it with Cornelia Street. And then I saw someone do My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys and I Know Places.
That would
There
be
was
so good.
there's a girl on TikTok. I'll have to send you like some of her videos.
Mm.
She's so good. And that's like where I got a lot of these, is she's been singing them. But there was one somebody did and I was like, no, I was like, don't sing that out loud anymore again. People also have theories that The Alchemy is not the simple football song we have accused it of being, and that the verses are actually sadder than we originally thought, and that it is yet another breakup song. But when I was listening to it the other day, when I came up with this theory about the mashups, I was driving to the doctor, and it was a long drive, so I was listening, and I circled you on a map, and I said, is that Taylor Swift's way of saying I put you on the map.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to think that it is at least a little bit about Travis Kelce,
Yeah.
and like people are like, y'all are like bringing down her like mastermindness, being like, oh, sports song, Travis Kelce. No, it's not a sports song. I was like, no, it is 100% a sports song.
Yeah. What?
It's clearly about football in some
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah. And like again, if she is playing with both and she's singing about the breakup, but then also Travis, like she's not putting the football references in accidentally and then being like, oh
Yeah.
my God, they think it's about
What are the
Travis. I was
odds?
just thinking about Maddie Healy scoring touchdowns. What are you talking about?
Does he not look like a linebacker?
Yeah. I also, this is random, but when we were talking about, or people keep posting about the like out with a guy that looked like he could have bullied you in school.
Yes, I was about to say
like,
that.
I was like, so Maddie looks like he could have bullied Joe, I guess. And then I was like, wait, or Travis
No.
looks like he could have bullied both of them. Like,
Yes, people I've seen a lot of people talk about that lyric, and that like that they are picturing like Taylor cackling, being like, my boyfriend could beat you up.
yeah.
I like one time this guy was like texting me, this guy that I was like friends with in high school. After high school, I learned that he was really fucking weird, and he
I
would just
must
text
say,
me.
Torture Poets era is giving our listeners probably way more insight to your high school life than they wanted.
Well, okay, but to listen.
So listen.
This guy, we didn't even go to high school together. That's the thing. But when I was in college one time, he was like texting me and he would not leave me alone. And I was like, sir, please leave me alone. And he was like, the Mary I knew would never ask me to leave her alone. It was horrible. And then my boyfriend, who's now my husband, sent him a picture of himself, and he said, I could beat you up. Leave her alone. And he's like, I'm 6'3". Stop texting my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's my most relatable lyric to my
Yeah.
current life.
Yeah. So yeah, outside of the football references, it does seem that like in all other parts, she is still singing about coming back to someone, which like obviously I guess she's like not coming back to Travis if they were never
Yeah.
together. I had been thinking this when I listened, but I was like making it work anyway in my head. I thought, okay, the hospital was a drag. Worst sleep I ever had was a reference to like, okay, my temporary insanity with Maddie, it's over. Like,
Yes.
I'm
Agreed.
ready to be done in the hospital. Circled that little Kansas City and I said, I'm coming. And then she says, I haven't been around in so long, which like seems strange for a Travis song. And then she has like references to like when we were kids.
The I haven't been around in so long though, I felt like was like about like her not feeling like herself.
Sure.
Because then she says like I'm better than I ever was or something.
Right.
And so I was like, maybe she just means like
I'm
now
coming
that
back so strong. Just like into
now
the
I'm
world.
with somebody who's like I can be myself. And then I also wondered if like the reference to being kids wasn't about like actually being kids, it was about like the high
they
school
can
thing.
be like right. That's what I thought too.
I also feel like
child's play back in school is forgiven under my rule. I'm making a comeback to where I belong. I think is a little bit of like what people are stuck on.
But if we listen to her talk about how her and Travis got together,
Yep.
she did have to come back to him because he felt like he shot his shot and he missed out, and she had to circle back and be like, no,
Well, yeah.
sorry.
So
I love your
too.
bracelet.
I understand that like so long is like maybe the stuff people are stuck on. Again, I wonder if that's one of those moments where like it's necessary to make good music. But she did like right when he gave her this bracelet or like whatever, she was probably like still with Maddie or like was like just getting over Maddie. I don't know the exact timeline. And so it probably took her a while, like a little while to like get back to him. And so I thought that too. Like I thought like, oh, like she's saying like, dude, I'm not crazy anymore. Like it took me a little bit to like realize, but like this is what I need. This is where I belong. Or even like metaphorically, where I belong is like with someone who's not tortured and like not hard to be with.
Somebody who's just dumb and happy.
Yeah, and then she
Somebody
touches down. She says, "Cut these amateurs. Goodbye, clowns." But then people are stuck on this too. The sign on your heart is still reserved for me. But like you're saying, he shot his shot. He kind of gave up. He said, "Damn, she's not gonna talk to me." But then like this is a short time period later. But
yeah,
he's like, actually, I'll still date the biggest. I'm willing to wait 2 weeks to date the biggest, fucking most famous person in the world. But then people were saying like, someone said like the blokes on the benches meant it was about Maddie, and I think like no, she's saying like I'm done with these English guys, these fucking British men, and then also the line about like you joke that it's heroin, but this time with an E, is like also like a jab at her her Maddie, which I just like hope to God that Travis actually made that joke, but I'm like maybe she just made the joke.
I can't. I'm sorry, but a man who can't pronounce pseudonym
or say squirrel.
I don't think
spell squirrel
knows how to spell. It doesn't probably use the word
heroin and heroin,
right?
Yeah, yeah. But I just want to think he made that joke. But yeah, I think like yes, there are like maybe references to older guys, but I think the whole point of the alchemy is like it's a transformation. This is like a change. This is like how different
now
like
I'm writing about football.
Us is than it was with them,
Yeah, part of me wonders if there was some situation in which the NFL was like, can you write a song about football so we could use it?
Really am like truth dare spin bottle. Someone fucking dared her to write about touchdowns, and like she got stuck into a shitty ass dare, and she said, "You know what? Listen, I got 31 songs on this track. I can make one fucking
I can do one skip.
I can do one for a dare. Fine."
It's so fucking funny. The last new theory we have about the Torture Post Department is that there will be a third installment. People were pointing out that we knew it was going to be a double album because she kept doing like twos and stuff, but that there's also a lot of 3, 2, 1 hints.
Yep. And it was like backwards. It's TPD 1, 2, 3. That error code.
Yeah. And then Taylor Nation, when they shared about the double album, said we're not even full yet. They said clear your plates.
Yep.
Hope you're hungry. For more.
Nothing. Yeah.
For nothing.
People think it's coming May 3rd, which would be a fortnight from April 19th. A lot of people have shared that when they ordered their CDs from like official tAylOr merch, they received them with an empty CD slot in the back, which they are saying is like for that.
Is she just gonna send them?
No, so here's where I like disagree a little bit, is that it also doesn't have the anthology in it. Like it's like literally just one CD, but it's like a pack. I almost think like they gave it to you and then you can go purchase the anthology
is only digital.
Okay, but what I'm saying, so maybe that goes to this theory, I guess, or it's gonna come out in CD later, and they left it blank so that like then you can add them together and like have them as a collection.
Should I check mine?
Is it a thick one? I don't know, Mary. I cannot see how thick it is. How have you not checked it? I don't understand how you haven't looked in your fucking CD.
I did look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could signal. Okay. Oh, yours is only the one though. Like these were people that were getting like the deluxe, I guess, the thicker one.
No.
So I don't know. We'll see. They're out here clowning. Or not, but tad. Yeah, that would be a lot of music, friends.
Oh,
I also
sorry.
though think it's funny because like people had said like she can't do TTPD and a double release with Reputation because like financially that wouldn't be smart, and like then like they can't both be top of charts, it wouldn't sell as much, whatever. And I first of all just like not sure that these rules like apply here to Taylor Swift, like okay. But it was kind of hilarious. There were these tweets that were like, okay, I'm sorry, Swifties, but like capitalist queen Taylor Swift is not dropping 2 albums at a time. Um, and then like, okay, technically, like I don't really think of it as a double album because like you can just find the anthology and it plays the whole thing. So like to me,
It's
it's
one
just a
album.
big fucking album. But to me, like if capitalist queen Taylor Swift like won't drop a double album because it won't make her enough money, why would she drop 31 songs and they're all in the fucking top 50? Like again, like I just am not sure that like the rules apply here.
It's like the full anthology and then Karma by Britt Smith.
Yeah.
I have also seen people saying that I don't remember which song they're talking about, but that one of the songs feels like it's saying that she's like done after this album.
Yeah.
And I was like, I I just so strongly disagree. Like people are like, oh, like she's ready to settle down, like she's gonna marry Travis, she's not gonna make music anymore. And I was like, this is somebody who has been like very open about the fact that like writing music gets her through every fucking thing in her
Yeah.
life. Like I don't
Yeah.
think she's ever stopping.
I do think she could retire and just write music for other people at some point, but I kind of felt the same way, that I felt like the whole album feels like a closure
Mhm.
feeling, but people have all said like this is her like putting an end to like this era of her life.
Yeah.
And I think like that's fair, like the whole Joe thing and maybe like dating around, like maybe she is so sure that like this is it with Travis that she's like this is really like the end of this. The Eras tour will like come kind of to an end, like this is she's
Mhm.
almost done getting all of her albums back, like I think that it can be a sort of end without being like the end.
Yeah.
I think like capitalist queen Taylor Swift would be out of her mind to like stop right now.
That's the episode title. Right there. One more
Can we
cutie
do
Taylor
it in
Swift thing. Yeah.
lower uppercase?
Well, but we need to think of something that it's gonna spell.
Oh.
Like, have you seen that trend where people are doing like "Thank you, Amy," but they're putting "thank you" and then several other words and spelling out other people's names?
Mm.
Um. Anyway, so one more cutie Taylor Swift thing. So Kylie Kelsey, have you seen those like people are getting them for like their Eras tour, and it's like a wood cutout of the stadium with like the stage shape and stuff. Okay, it's like cute. It's on Etsy, and you can do it for like football. People do it for football stadiums usually, but you could also do it. People have been doing it for the Eras tour. So Kylie Kelsey is getting one made for Jason Kelsey because he retired, and it's like the Eagle Stadium, and it says like how many years he was in the NFL and like his stats and stuff. It's really cute. But she's also getting one made for Taylor and Travis that
Cute.
is like
Arrowhead.
yes, with like the Eras tour stage on it,
Cute.
and it says Karma's the guy on the Chiefs on the bottom,
Cute.
and it's got glitter on it, and it's got a 13 and an 87 glitter. It's so cute. I
Yeah.
love it. And so obviously, where are they gonna put that? In their family home. Because they're already married. People
Yeah.
are saying.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on. That was a little excessive. However, we had to give you every single thought.
Yeah.
Since
And
we'll be
I'm
gone.
not sorry.
I'm sorry. But since we'll be gone throughout May, we must hold back nothing. I'm writing out capitalist queen Taylor Swift in separate letters so that I can try to think of what we can spell. Okay.
Think of someone we really hate.
Yeah. Oh. I was gonna say, can we spell that X's name in here?
I know.
No,
I was like
we
trying
can't.
to make it fit, but you can't.
All right, on to Summer House, which hasn't been having a full section, but then Danielle be out here acting fucking crazy. Danielle is pulling a full Scheana on Summer House and has no idea how to be a good friend. She basically tells Gabby that if she was trying to flirt with Balloon Guy Joe, she was really bad at it because she said it was not giving flirtation. Fuck off. It is.
You're 40 fucking years old. Don't tell
Yeah.
me what anything is giving.
Yeah. And then on Watch Happens Live later, Gabby was like, I'm not gonna lie, like when Balloon Guy Joe came back the second time, like he kind of gave me the ick. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. So it is weird to me the way they're needing to like it feels this way at least, like trying to like manufacture a storyline. Lindsay's like, oh my god, I brought this guy for either of y'all, like, cause whatever. And then like they're like, Gabby, like, are you not gonna go flirt? Like, Gabby, are you not gonna go talk to him? Gabby, are you not gonna go interrupt Danielle? And it's like they need her to have like a certain goal with like every single guy. And she's like, I just want to like do what I want. And like I
Yeah.
want to like flirt if it comes naturally and like the guys I like. Like I just like what is with all this pressure?
It also was like so sad because the like when they did the like previously on and they did like her talking about like who are you dating? When are you gonna start dating? And like she's talking about her dad, but it
Mm-hmm.
matches up so well with what like Danielle and Lindsay and like everyone's trying to do to her in this
Right.
episode about flirting. And it's like she doesn't want it.
Leave her
Like
alone.
from
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that flashback to her and Danielle in the car and her saying, like, I want someone to do for me what I do for them. It was a little incriminating, Gabby. But
Which is but like it's
Danielle
okay to
took it
want
too
that.
far.
Yeah, it's okay to want that and not want it from some weird ass guy who makes balloon arches in the
It's also
Hamptons.
like okay to ask your friend to be your wing woman and then also expect that they'll respect you when you tell them to stop. Like,
Right.
you know? So she says that Gabby crying and being upset about this is stupid and that she did not make her cry. I didn't do that. Okay.
Yeah. Danielle is becoming absolutely insufferable. And I was thinking like when Paige and Amanda were like, "Oh my god, like I totally understand Lindsay now." I was like, they both kind of suck. Like Danielle and Lindsay are a match made in bitchy heaven, I feel like. Like
Mhm.
neither of them are particularly kind. And maybe we've just missed that about Danielle. I feel like it's sad that Gabby, Paige, and Amanda specifically like rode so hard for Danielle last summer, and in 1 week she has made both Gabby and Paige feel like absolute shit
Mhm.
about themselves, and truly doesn't care about it. Like she's like
Mhm.
I like could not care less.
Yeah. Yeah. Danielle does end up hooking up with Balloon Guy Joe. It was so fucking cringy, dude. Like, you're the
Hmm.
boss. Like, was rough.
I
Um,
hated I hated everything
yeah,
about it.
he says to Gabby, but in her confessional, you snooze, you lose. I also like not to shame her.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to judge her, but I can't imagine that she's not gonna look back and like regret this. I could not believe that she got completely naked right in front of the camera. They are usually like so aware and they'll like get under the blanket and then get naked or like cover the camera. Like the only person that we like see naked is Kyle all the time. But
Yeah.
like I was like, "Oh no." Like her whole naked body. And
Yes.
I was like, "Oh my god, like I feel disgusting
And when
looking at
she
this.
was
These
like,
clips are not going to go anywhere. Like they're going to."
yeah. And the like when she was like kneeling on the bed, I was like, we need to blur her butt at
Yeah.
this point because
Yeah.
like
It's right. Yeah.
yeah. I also though I feel like this is another thing where I was like Danielle is trying so hard to prove that she is the cool girl, and I feel
Mhm.
like after what happened with Alex on Winter House, she is going the extra mile to make sure that people know that she does not care about anyone or anything. And like I just feel like this was like another like thing that like I feel like in the moment she was thinking like I'm going to do what I never do, because this is a new Danielle. Like, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. I don't care what people say about me. And like you said, in hindsight, when this Danielle gets over being being out of control, she's gonna be like, damn, like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
To all of it.
Yeah. Then the end is like heavy. Carl goes and sees his mom and stepdad. His stepdad tells him that he does not think he and Lindsay should get married right now, that like he's I guess like a minister, and he's like married a lot of people, and he's like, if I were doing your wedding, which I'm not, but if I was, like, I would say you should not do it. So that sucks for Carl. He's gonna have a problem with that. And then in the clips for next week, it sounds like we're gonna find out that West is texting other girls.
No.
Right after calling Sierra his alien girlfriend?
No.
No.
I love West. I love West and Sierra.
Yeah. Okay, and now into the Vanderpump universe. We finally have something about her opening date. It will be open next month on May 22nd. Woo, woo, woo. This week on Rachel Goes Rogue, Rachel shared her experiences with domestic violence. And although she did not name what ex she had these experiences with, it was pretty clear that she was talking about James. Brett, who I don't know if you remember, but we saw him earlier this season. He was talking to James, and James says, like, I literally have never met this man in my life.
Yes. And we were like, yes, he had. Okay.
Yes. But still, he's like not super relevant. But he was commenting back to people who were commenting to Rachel, and he was saying that he witnessed a lot of the abuse that she was referring to. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why James doesn't know him.
I'm just waiting for the day that Bravo's like, okay, we've heard enough of this now. Yeah. We gotta do something.
Yeah. Lala broke down on a recent Amazon Live about,
I think Amazon Lives are so fucking weird.
So weird. About how she was just crying and saying that like she wants to stay focused on the new family she's starting, that it's hard to avoid what people are saying about her on the internet, but she has been just like trying to stay offline. She doesn't want strangers to make her feel silly or stupid, is what she said. It was very sad. And yes, like she should focus on her new family. She should stay healthy, minimal stress. And yes, she should like not worry about what people are saying about her, I guess. However, like it just is a little bit ironic that just the week before she was saying she doesn't give a fuck. If you loved me, I don't care if you were my biggest fan before, and now you hate me, like I don't care.
She's talking to you.
Yeah, breaking my heart. She said, I don't read the comments. I don't care what people think about me. Basically, like, I stand by everything I said, like, whatever. And now she's, like, really broken up about it. She said in the video, like, I'm just trying to protect my peace. And the first comment, you know how, like, Instagram, like, has the comments, like, appear at the end? The one that popped up said, I bet Ariana would have loved some peace, too. And like all Ariana was trying to do was protect her peace, and you would not let her. So, onto the episode. I will not lie. The Katie and Tom Schwartz scene was cute. I know in my logical brain she's too good for this and she needs to stop, but it was cute. He is so delulu for thinking that Katie is going after the same girl as him because she misses him. That's our post-divorce love language.
No.
Jax says that Katie is just talking about him because there's no more best friends of her ex-husband for her to hook up with. In fact, maybe she did it, like, spoke about him, I guess is what he means. Maybe she is talking about him because she wishes she could have sex with him, Jax.
Who doesn't
so
wish
fucking gross.
That. While he's hanging out with James and saying all this, Scheana is hanging out with Brittany, And she opens up to her about how Sandoval has made her look at Brock and Lala differently. And people are saying, like, Lala's face lights up when he walks in the room. Like, have you seen the way they look at each other? Blah, blah, blah. And then, as if on cue, they go to the next scene and Lala says, I need to call my husband. And Brock basically is like, Lala's ringing my line, as like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But the transition. And then I saw someone say, not Scheana trying to manifest her own Sandoval to get more attention. And like, and then she like says it to him, like, I can't even look at my husband the same way. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I like, but you should be able to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
Like,
It
Allie
was,
doesn't feel that way about James.
yeah. It was a little hard for me about the OCD stuff
Yeah.
because like I've been trying this whole time to like, yeah, I don't like Scheana, but I hate that
Yeah.
she's going through this and like this sounds
Yeah.
awful. I will say, like, not that it's making me question like all of it, but
Mm-hmm.
like when she talks about her intrusive thoughts with her postpartum OCD, and she describes that her intrusive thoughts are that Brock might cheat on her with Lala or that Brock might cheat on her with a nanny, like
Mm-hmm.
that is unfortunately like not what people mean.
Yeah.
Like when people are having postpartum OCD intrusive thoughts, like it's like thoughts that they're murdering their kids. It's like
Right.
thoughts that their husbands are abusing their kids. It's like these are like really awful images, like pictures, like fears, and it
That's why they're
feels
intrusive.
well, but I think to Lala it's intrusive,
Scheana.
or yes, to Scheana it's intrusive because like she doesn't want it, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, yes, any thought that pops into your head that you don't want is like technically intrusive, but like in the frame of like postpartum OCD, like it just feels, and maybe I spoke to someone about this and they were like, maybe Scheana like didn't want to share the worst of her
Yeah.
thoughts, which is like fair, but it just felt in that moment like how she had like Scheana-fied it. She had trivialized this really awful thing to just be about like, but what if my husband cheats me with the nanny? And like
Mm-hmm.
that seems to me more a product of like your friend group and
Yeah.
like how this show has gone down and how Sandoval happened. And like, yeah, that's like fine to have like trauma and be like, oh my God, anyone could fool me. You know, like it's okay to like be nervous after that, I guess.
Yeah.
But like framing that as part of your postpartum OCD, like it's a little icky to me.
Yeah.
Also icky. Tom walks in to James's house and he tells Hippie, if I ever talk to your mom again, I'll tell her you said hi. Hippie said, ew.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
It was right up there with the cringiness of the Toms writing to get the Gordo and Butters tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like in the car. I have never wanted to get out of watching Vanderpump Rules more.
Yeah.
Um Also kind of cringy. Scheana, when her and Brock were on their anniversary date, she was talking to him like she was sloshed. I was like, what the fuck is this girl saying? It was like a very like touching conversation, but she was like, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what are, what are her words?
Yeah. It was, yeah, it was a little like Brock seemed like so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it was like those moments where I feel like he's like looking at her and then looking at the camera and being like, you realize like the camera's here? Like,
Yeah.
why are you trying to ask? Like she's so weird, but she's like, she does that on and off, right? Like any guy she's with, she's just like, she wants us to think they have like the best sex life ever.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
She's like, I brought Dwayne to the hotel. And he was like,
okay.
did you see them on Lopez versus Lopez?
Mm-mm.
Is I've seen like snippets of it, but people were like saying that Brock should stick to weightlifting, and he was responding to like every single fucking comment, and he was like, agreed. I did not do well.
Mm-hmm. So Scheana this like clip that we've all been looking at since like the mid-season trailer, we get the fight between Scheana and Sandoval. She tells Tom that this is so strange to me. She's telling Tom, like he's telling her, like, this didn't affect you, Scheana. Like, why are you talking about this like it's about you? Like, you're a victim in this. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I had a restraining order against me. And he's like, for what though? Like, you weren't like innocent in that, like, whatever. And she basically, in a way to explain to him like why she's mad at him for this, she says, like, you should have kept your mouth shut at the reunion.
Which is also what she said to him at the reunion.
I was going to say, then they flash back to the reunion and she says, like, Tom, keep your mouth shut. Which at the reunion, I did think, like, this is kind of weird, but I thought, like, she's more saying, like, I haven't even gone to court yet. So, like, you saying this, whether true or not, like, you saying this could really fuck me over heading to court. So, like, please keep your mouth shut. Whatever you want to think happened, like, fine, but, like, stop saying it on TV. But now that she's saying it again, I'm like, that is like a really weird way to phrase, like,
have you seen
I didn't do this?
Have you seen people pointing out that she makes a fist?
Yeah.
On this season? They're like, oh, so Scheana can make a fist.
Yeah. Tom yells at her that she isn't the victim in this and that Ariana treated him better than she did, which of course, like, when it is convenient for him, Ariana treats him really awful.
Right. So, but also, doesn't it make sense that your girlfriend of 9 years treated you better than your random ass friend?
No, not when you cheated on your girlfriend of 9 years. She could have murdered him. And I think everyone would have been like,
oh, he's talking about like now.
Yes, he means like after the Sandoval, that like he feels like Scheana has profited more than Ariana, that she's come for him more than Ariana, whatever. Scheana tries to walk away and go home, which she was actually trying to do before this, but Brock yelled at her and wouldn't let her. And Tom says to her, but don't you know what it's like? Because you've been the other woman before. Scheana spun around with a quickness and put her finger in his face. And Brock did a rather frightening move. When he pulled Tom in, he pulls Tom in like close to his face, neck. And he's like, and Tom's like, nope. And he's like, she was 21, dude.
Honestly though, I was like watching Brock like pull him, and I was like, is Brock kind of hot? Like,
he's certainly not, but
like in that moment, I was like, whoa. And my friend texted me, and she was texting me in all caps. She was like, we hate Brock, but he shows up when he's needed. And I was like, he's like, she was in her fucking 20s. I was like, yes.
Yeah, and they remind Tom that Scheana was 21. This was in 2006. She was also not the one in a relationship, so already by default, like, a little less guilty. And that he's over 40, and like,
and she wasn't friends, and she said that she didn't know he was married.
Yes, which of course, like, everyone, Tom,
yes,
like,
but like, there's debate.
Right, but also, like, I was sitting there thinking, like, why is she saying it's 2006? Like, who cares? But truthfully, like, I started to think, like, it kind of does matter. Like, she may not have been able to, like, as easily, like, just Google, like, is he still with her? Like, things are just, like, a little less easy to find. Now it's very, like, what? You didn't know Randall was still with Lala? Really? Right. So Ariana continues to be way too good for these fake ass friends, and that's Carl in. She, stood up for Scheana. She is great.
She's having to hold Scheana while she's crying over Ariana's ex-boyfriend being a shithead.
Like, he's fucking trash. I'm so sorry.
And Sheena's honey. Like, and meanwhile, Sheena's been like, for months, been like, can I be his friend again, please?
Yeah. On to the Valley. I just, like, cannot believe how hateable Jesse is. Just all around. We'll get to a even better Jesse part at the end from the after show. The party for Jax's hair loss product is shocking. Like, shocking that the Jax Taylor we know, would, like, have a public party for
I feel like he's
something
trying
so
so hard
embarrassing.
to be like the most dad
Yeah.
he can be.
Yeah, he's trying to like switch around his like what people think of him, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not this player, like I'm like a family guy, and how embarrassing, I'm losing my hair.
Yeah. And then
Um
the part was like Jax's bald spot.
yeah. Jax and Jesse are two of just like the most disgusting characters on Bravo ever. Like they're so predatory. They're talking to this girl that's got to be like 21. Then Michelle walks up to Jesse, hitting on the Burning Man girl, the girl who's selling Burning Man outfits that she's not even gonna wear to Burning Man. Um, and she like walks up and's like, "What's going on?" And he says, "Oh, she is selling these outfits for Burning Man." That's not what she asked. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad Michelle said, "Oh, are you going to Burning Man?" He said, "No." Golden. Good work, Michelle.
She's so funny.
Jesse slamming the table again. Such a red
Yeah.
flag.
And like that it's now been more than once.
Yeah, like this is a pattern, friends.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. This episode may have made a Michelle fan out of me. However, the internet says I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They say that Kristen is the show villain, but Michelle is the real villain. So I guess I must be missing something.
No, I love Michelle, and I think more so in real life than on the show. Also she's officially changed her name back to her maiden name on Insta, but I think Michelle's so fucking cute. Also I saw somebody say how like this show is good when Michelle's nipple was out through this whole fucking episode and nobody mentioned it once.
Yeah. Like, other than the fact that Michelle may be a Republican, which I guess we'll just have to like wait to find out.
Yeah.
But otherwise, certainly beating Kristen. Which, might I say though, that like Kristen, always this has been true, but especially Kristen with Luke, are not like the poster children for progressiveness. Like,
Right.
I'm not thinking they're like super lib. Like, they're
Yeah.
still like, I don't know how to use they them in a sentence. Like, that's
Yeah.
those people. So fuck off. Kristen says that she won't say the thing that could destroy Jesse and Michelle's marriage. Jesse says, if you bring out any skeletons that I don't already know about my wife, I will bury you. Which, first of all, feels like an acknowledgement that like he understands
His wife is
that
hiding something.
that there could be. He's like, don't
Yeah.
fucking mention them on camera, bitch. I don't care what you have.
Yeah.
She is gonna throw, though, both Michelle and Jesse under the bus on the way out. She says Jesse said recently that he's gonna leave Michelle within 2 months. And
Jack said, that's not what happened. Michelle said she was going to leave Jesse in 2 months. I was like, stop.
shut up. And then on her way out, she drops that Michelle has had a boyfriend for a year during her marriage, which on Watch What Happens Live, it sounds like most people believe to be true.
I believe it's true.
So, welcome back, Crazy Kristen, and welcome to the scene, Crazy Luke.
Yeah, Crazy Luke. I couldn't believe.
No.
Also, not Kristen leaving Luke high and dry while Jesse literally steamrolled over Zach to try to get to him. Kristen was like,
Bye.
see you later.
Yeah. Like, Luke, not a large man. Like,
No.
Jesse's short, I guess, too. But these are not, like,
That was crazy.
the best
I was like,
fighters.
Jesse is like fighting his ass off, defending a woman that he clearly hates.
And,
He does
like,
not like his wife.
believes that she has secrets.
Right, and he's like, don't fucking talk about my wife ever again. And Kristen's like, I want to have Luke's babies yesterday.
But please punch him. I don't care.
Yeah, but like, not me.
Yeah. On the after show, which has now become like a joint after show, so I put it after both. Katie does not mince words about the fact that she is not interested in a friendship with Jax or Brittany, which is like pretty big deal in this universe, because everyone loves Brittany, and they're always like, fuck Jax, but like I love Brittany.
Yeah.
And Katie has kind of said, like, I mean, at first it was about Jax, and it did just like make my relationship with Brittany suffer, but she was like, but then like Brittany doesn't reach out to me, Brittany doesn't like defend me, like I'm just not really interested in like either of these people. And I found that very refreshing. That
Katie
like,
is so refreshing.
yeah, and like Brittany is like hee cute, I guess, but it's like we cannot like a person who believes that, like that is their soulmate, like that says something. Like it's just like sorry, like I'm not about it. Like that's so nuts to me. And even in the valley when she's like yelling at Kristen like about Jack, like defending Jax for bringing Alex, and she's like, "You're the one stirring up shit," and I'm like, "You're Delulu, Brittany."
Yeah.
In the after show, James gives us some some interesting information, which isn't like groundbreaking, but I kind of feel like, whoa. So he says he was at Tom Tom the night that Ariana found the video, and I guess walked in like after, because he said he walked in and everyone looked at him like he was a ghost. He didn't like know what was going on. He left. He texted Tom good night. And then he wakes up to text from Ariana saying, like, I'm fucking done with these people. Like, they're dead to me. And he's like, what is going on? Like, I was literally just there. But it's also hilarious because James is so high in the after show. It is unreal. He is like so high. And there are some clips where I think I can see him. Like, I think he has a dab pen. And so he's just like he's just maintaining his high the whole time. And so, like, I feel like he's spilling stuff, and then afterwards he's like, "Did I just say that?" Like he like looks like, "Oh no," and it's hilarious. Also on the after show though, Janet tells us that Jason has hooked up with Scheana. Just wild for Jason, not shocking at all for Scheana. Get in line, buddy. Good news is Hippie and Banks can now be in a room together.
Yay.
It sounds. On Watch What Happens Live, Allie wanted it to be very clear that, like, although she recognizes that in the season, in the part we're watching, James does not prioritize her, she wants us all to know that, like, now in their life, like, she is his number one priority, and he is so good to her. So
yeah, and she's posted a lot of pictures with Hippie and Banks together. And I feel
so
like that
cute.
I feel like that like would naturally strain a relationship anyway. And so I'm glad that like that those two could work it out so that their grown-ups could work it out.
I know. I was telling Billy that, like, this is not a club that I like want to be in, but like watching them, like I just feel like, man, like this sounds so silly because it sounds like such a minor part of the season, but for me, like watching them, I'm like, I can like understand them and like the Banks and Hippie stuff like in a way that like other people can't, and like other people may think it's like so dramatic and whatever, but like that is so scary. And like it is like such a big deal when like one of them is like your beloved pet, one is the other's beloved pet, and you're like blaming, like it just sucks. And I just was like, not that I want to get them better than anyone else, but like I do, like it is so like it's so sad. Like the way she like glitches when Hippie goes near Banks, and I'm like, no, I'm so scared. And then Jesse admits on the after show that once he went to Paris with Michelle and their 1-year-old daughter, and they had a nanny, but then they had like booked a nanny online, but then she got sick, so then they like couldn't find a nanny in time, so they like walk into this cafe with a baby, and this hostess says like, oh my gosh, I have a 1-year-old too. And so they start talking about having this 1-year-old, and she says, well, my mom watches my 1-year-old. And they said, oh cool, she want to watch our kid? And they just sent her to this stranger's house to, in Jesse's words, spend the week. I'm hoping this means like they came back and got her at night, like she just like went back, like did she literally spend the whole, like I'm like, what? Either way, it's nuts.
And like that Michelle is like fucking mortified that he said that. Also, I like, this may be the meanest thing I've ever said on this podcast, but this is the same logic that Madeline McCann's parents had. Like, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, they were like,
Yeah.
oh, well, like, we can walk back to our
Mhm.
room from the restaurant. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Mhm.
Like, I get like
And
trying to like I
I
get
almost
like
think it's
trying to
worse to leave
problem
them with
solve
a
it.
person, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I understand like trying to problem solve, like, okay, I need childcare, but we also are supposed to be doing this, and like I understand trying to make it work, and I don't have kids, so I don't know like the
nah.
reality of
The
how
problem
difficult that can
solving
be.
is you figure out how to
But
take your kid everywhere.
right, that's not never the solution, to
Mm-mm.
leave them with anyone you don't know or without anyone. Like, I
Yeah.
literally, as soon as I read that, I was
Mhm.
like, that's how Madeline McCann got tooked.
Someone's gonna call CPS. Yeah, I almost do like feel like it's worse to leave them with someone, a person, because like
Yes.
you just handed her over, and then like 6 hours later you go back to get her, and
Yeah.
like that person could be, it's Europe. They could be in a
Right.
different goddamn country
Right.
with your
And like
kid.
I remember when I watched like the Madeline McCann docu-series, and they're like trying so hard to like
Mhm.
not let you think that the parents did it, and
Mhm.
they're like they it was like they had a great idea. No, they didn't have a great idea.
Yeah,
They
and they
had a
regret it
terrible
now.
idea, and like we know better now,
Mhm.
and they know better now, but like
Yeah.
you can't be doing that. Like,
Mm-mm.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad for saying that, because like he knew he shouldn't have done that. That's why he said it on the after show. That's why he said it, like, he's trying to like m-
No,
cause
I actually
drama.
think he wants to sound like, I think he loves sounding bougie. Like, I
Yeah.
think he wants to sound like when we were in Paris or the 1-year-old, and like, I don't know. I think he thinks that's cool. Um, On to the villa in France. Back to France.
Mhm. Oh, that's me.
Mhm.
At the villa, tempers are flaring between the gals. I hate when that happens. Telly, we were arguing at the start of watching Vanderpump Villa. Is Telly Stassi or is Hannah Stassi? But worry not, they have formed a mega Stassi,
Mhm.
and they are terrorizing everyone.
Mhm. Yeah, they're such mean girls.
They are convinced, this has nothing to do with them, first of all, but they're convinced that Gabriela has only been interested in Andre because Grace likes him,
Yeah, they
and
said
that,
this because of like she kissed that guest, and they were
yeah,
like, well, he was interested in Telly and Hannah first, so like she must only like men that like
yeah.
her friends, I guess.
They're like, Gabriella's a mean girl. Then they're like by the pool talking shit about her. They call her Toucan Sam, start making fun of her appearance, her nose specifically. And then Emily overhears them, and she goes, I think she tells Priscilla and Grace that Telly and Hannah are being bullies, and like this is what they are saying about Gabriella. So at dinner, Hannah, who has heard that she's been called a bully.
But she thinks Priscilla told Lisa Vanderpump that Hannah and Telly were bullying her.
Yeah. Well, because Priscilla told Lisa Vanderpump that people are not being nice
That's not what she said.
to each other. But she said like that it just
She
feels like
said,
people aren't getting along and it's
yeah, she
uncomfortable.
said, I'm having a hard time trusting these people, and
Yeah.
I just don't know where I fit in.
Yeah.
But like Priscilla made it very like about her. Like, this
Yeah.
has just been hard for me.
Yeah. But so Hannah's like, are there any bullies amongst us? And it's like crickets for a second, and then Gabriella like completely misunderstood, and she was like, oh, they're talking about me. Yeah, like y'all have been saying that I'm a bully because Grace liked Andre. And then this is when she hears about the Toucan Sam comment. But Gabriella's like, I don't fucking care because I'm hot as fuck. Like,
Mhm.
I don't care what they say. And then Hannah and Telly are offended by
Mhm.
the reactions
Mhm.
to that part of that conversation, because they're like, what the fuck? Grace is not groveling at our feet thanking us
Mhm. Yeah.
for shit talking her reproductive threat.
Yeah.
And Grace is like, I
I was
like
not
Gabrielle.
bothered.
Like,
Yeah.
I've been friends with Gabrielle this whole time, and I would never say these things about another woman. Like, what the fuck? Like, no, I'm not down for this. That's not
And
who
like
I am.
Andre
Crazy
straight
the
up told me
fucking
he didn't
angel.
like me.
Andre
Like,
told me I was his little sister.
I'm
That's
it's
not Gabriela's fault.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I just kept thinking like how embarrassing. So Telly like says in her confessional, she thinks this is like a ooh, like she burned Gabriela. She says in her confessional, like, oh my god, how embarrassing. Gabriela misread the situation. We weren't talking about her. Like, okay, but you were trying to pretend that you weren't talking about anyone specific. Oh,
Yeah.
we're just opening the floor. Anyone feel any type of way? So like,
And like and like you have to think about the fact that you're the reason she thinks you're talking about her
yeah,
is because of things you have been saying and doing.
yeah,
You are causing several different situations in which
yeah.
people think that somebody is a bully.
Right. That's like how embarrassing for you that like that's how many people all think the same thing that you couldn't even get the one you were
Yes.
looking for to say it. Then Hannah says like that it was passive aggressive for Emily to say like people making comments about other people's appearances.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, you should just be direct to whoever, which is like hilarious right after her and Telly's misfire where they're trying to come for Priscilla. They're trying to call out Priscilla, but then Gabriela gets involved instead. And literally the whole time, Priscilla sits there, no comments, even though this is all started because they are convinced that she told Lisa they're bullies, which she did not.
Yeah. And like also
I
like
truthfully did not even really think she was talking about them. Like when I just really thought she meant like everyone's fighting all the time. Like
yeah.
I just don't feel super comfortable here, and like,
I
but
think
don't
it's
worry,
fair
like
to
I'm
say she
finding
was
where I
talking
fit
about
in.
anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also like how fucking funny is it to be like just say who you're like somebody talked about appearances, just say who it is. No, it's you. Don't be saying tell
Also
them who it
hilarious
is.
that Hannah's like, we never said that. We never said the Toucan Sam thing. Then Telly walks back in. They're like, did you say this? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, y'all gotta like get on the same page.
Crazy girls.
Yeah. Wild. It's wild. I love it though. So messy.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, friends. So we'll be back
Long-winded.
eventually. Hopefully this is enough to last you a lifetime. Yeah, we've said a lot of things. And then let us know any edits you want.
Yes.
So fun.
Who do you think of when you hear the Tortured Poets Department? I feel like this is a very niche community, but also not that niche. When you as Bravo fans, when you listen to the Tortured Poets Department, who do you think of?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's who we're looking for.
Yep.
And I really have to pee. So bye.
Bye.